What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for doing this, man. Why don't you just give a little, just quick intro, who you are, where you're from, what you do, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my name is Adam Clark. I am a songwriter and producer in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, I've been with Dan for about 6 months now, and it's been freaking awesome. So,
Cool, man. Yeah, well, we enjoyed having you. Just anybody watching this, Adam is definitely one of our killers. He came in and just started crushing it really, really quickly. Yeah, it's been a blast working with you, man. And as we've learned here, the faster you have the successes, the faster we move into big obstacles you got to solve. So yeah, that's what we're working on now, and the joys of business and fast growth and what happens. But yeah, if any of you guys watch this in the future, man, Adam is definitely one of our star clients. So appreciate you doing this, man. Um, why don't we start with just like if you could just describe to folks what business was like before we started working together, what your situation was like.
so I had one client, and I was doing one song, I think, before this at $600, which was okay. But I also had to do a song before that um, for free. And I wrote and recorded and produced the entire thing, just kind of gave it to them. And then eventually got to the point where I got 600, and I was like, you know what, this is nice, but it's not going to, you know, $600 goes really really quick. So that's kind of where I started off with Dark Label. Like that's when I was like, you know what, it's time to reach out.
And you had a full time job at the time as well.
Yeah, I had a full time job. I was a cook. I had to wake up at 4 o'clock every single day and literally make bacon, make the bacon. And yeah, it was really bad. I hated it. I really, really hated it.
And
Uh,
do you work that job today, six
I do
months later?
not. I do not. I am. I am.
Now you're bringing home the bacon.
Now I am. That's the same.
I've been waiting forever to be able to make that joke. Thank you. Cool, man. Okay. So that's kind of where you were, and we'll talk about this in a second, but you pretty much, I mean, you were an artist before, like, right? Like your past life, you were an
Yeah.
artist for a while.
Yeah.
And one of the things that impressed me about you is that, most people that work with me have been trying to like build a client business for a while, or maybe they have a client business that's like not working as well as they want. They're stuck. But you pretty much got one client. You're like, cool, I want to do this for my living, and immediately hired help to do it, which is
Yeah.
like no one does that, but it's literally the smartest way to do it. But it's just not popular thing to do. So I was pretty pumped for you. So what are things like now as far as what you've gotten out of working together, and shortly after you joined, what happened? What was
I
changing?
mean, shortly after I joined, I got um, like an influx of clients. Basically, I ended up getting 3 clients, and I think it was about 6 weeks. So my first 6 weeks, I just came in and started kind of crushing it right away. I ended up quitting my job within the first 6 weeks, which that was a little rocky. Learned a lot of lessons, but basically, yeah, I ended up getting a full schedule within 6 weeks, and had to really figure out how to stay afloat then. And now I'm in a position where, I actually get to focus in on my clients like a lot more. Um, and I have like different clients, like I have new leads coming in every single, pretty much weekly. I have a sales call at least like every 2 weeks or every week or every 2 weeks. And that's kind of my average. I at least close out one client a month. So that's one new client on top of reoccurring clients. So I can kind of see into the future a little bit into what my business is going to be. And it's made growth actually possible, where I'm not lost on figuring out where I'm going to be in like 2 months' time. So.
And you were charging 600 beforehand, and what are you charging now? Did we step up? We stepped up, right? Like, can you give the?
Yeah. So I started at 600. As soon as I got with Dark Label, I ended up moving up to 1,000. And I had 2 clients at 1,000, one at 600. Got another client at 1,000. And then from there, now I'm at 2,000 a song. And I've been able to do a lot for my clients with that, and put together a really cool offer. So
Nice. Cool. So like I was mentioning earlier, for someone that was like just kind of getting into, I mean, you had experience producing and you were an artist and stuff, but for someone relatively new to like a client business, why did you decide to immediately go, join a program like this?
It was honestly our first call. Like our first call was just like, it was just, you kind of said, yeah, this would be a good move for you. And I just kind of was like, you know what? He's right. It would be a good move. And just kind of realizing that like, if I wanted to actually get to a point where I was going to go full time and I was going to be able to handle, 3 clients, 5 clients a month, 6 clients a month, that was going to require help. And not just help from a bunch of producer buddies or from like a bunch of post-production people or whatever. It was going to require help from an actual mentor. And that's where you came in. And I was just like, man, I got to crush it. At that point, like, it was just like, it was the go. It was the fire. Like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it. So like just in my consulting, when I started my production business, there wasn't even anyone really doing the model. So I didn't really have the opportunity to hire someone that had been there before, but I technically had, the corporate background that I worked. That was my mentorship, right, going into it. But then when I started the consulting stuff, there were absolutely, this program, there were absolutely people who have done this model and have built it up. And so I myself, obviously, similar to you, man. I mean, I started the business in March of 2018 and then hired my mentor in May. So yeah, like pretty quick. I got a kind of similar to you, probably. You got a taste of it. You're like, okay, this could be a thing. I enjoy this. Like, well,
Yeah.
why fuck it up for the next year? Like, let's just do it, right?
That was the thought. I was just like, why waste time? Why not do what I can do in a week that would take me, like, why can't I do what I do in 3 months? Why can't I just compress that into like 1 week?
Right.
And like not mess up for 3 months.
Right. The speed is one thing. And for me with the consulting thing, it was like, I have the general idea of what this is going to look like and how we're going to help people. But I didn't know, how am I going to solve problems that I don't even know are problems,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I had ran a production business, but not a consulting business. So, yeah, similar in that regard. What did you have? This kind of almost seems like a silly question. I ask every client in these client interviews, but I'm sure maybe there was something, but you might say no to this answer. That's fine. Was there any fears about like signing up with someone like me, or what was the biggest fear?
Yeah, there was definitely fears. I mean, number one was, I mean, I think I right after our phone call, I actually Googled, is dark label a scam? That was my first Google search, and couldn't find anything. Then I looked again, and then I looked again, couldn't find anything, and I was like, okay, maybe this is legit. Coming from like the artist world, I've been burned 3 billion times to the point where you just kind of expect it. Every single person you're going to talk to is a scam. Um, then finding out this wasn't a scam, it was like, okay, now I'm going to read the email that you sent me like over and over and over and over and over again to kind of see what was going on. Um, and then I think it was like a month later, I actually decided to join. And then I was hit with a whole new level of fear, which was just like imposter syndrome, like up the wazoo, just like, oh my God, you were an artist. You're not even that good of a producer. And then finding out that I am a good producer. And then all these other things that like, oh my God, I got to go do I'm the one that's responsible for this at the end of the day. And yeah, there was a few fears that some are still being tackled today, but it's a good thing. They're good fears.
For sure. Yeah. And you're obviously a good producer. We wouldn't have made you an offer to come on board. But yeah, it's a thing. It sounds like it comes from a place of ego. So I don't say it often, but it's because I get it. Obviously, when you're talking to a stranger, someone you don't know, but I'm like, man, if the fear of like even potentially like losing a little bit of money out of a scam, like if that's scary to you, like, oh, just wait till there's real problems, like
Yeah.
in your business, which now
Yeah.
that fear. But I get it, and that's what's cool is what happens is like, and I get that we got to prove ourselves just like anybody else, just like you do, just like anybody. But what happens is after they get over that first fear, whether it's fear of us like doing something weird or fear of just betting on themselves, it flips. Remember I told you it will flip a switch. It's designed to flip a switch. It's designed to not be easy to get into the program. It's designed not to be weird or elitist, but it just literally works better when we're able to flip that switch, right? And you're one of those people that really took that to heart because, yeah, 2 weeks later you're calling to say you quit your job. Which, whatever. We would do what we can.
It was a good day. It's a good day.
Figure it out later. Not the route we take with everybody, but whatever. That's your story, right?
Absolutely.
So I think we did a client interview with the other Adam about like, and we're going to do an update one here soon, 6 months later, but because it was from last summer. But yeah, I was like, hey, yeah, I quit my job and then got this job and then came back. And like, that's more the reality of it and making sure that we do it right. I'd rather do it, but do it right with you guys than just go crazy,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not about stats to us, it's about the long term.
And like I felt like I needed those months of just moving into like full-time production to kind of honestly it helped me set up everything to the point where now like I'm able to have a little side job and then come back, work, crank out 12 hours like it's nothing, and then just kind of cash in both and at the same time be able to help artists that like I'd identify with, and they get to just crush it. They just get to like move forward and like have great music that gets to be put out there. And
yeah, that's the thing, man. In your case, it worked. Like you probably needed that. It wouldn't have been like how we advised just because we didn't know you well enough, and that's like such a big decision. But it sounded, obviously we're here now. So it obviously worked for you to go that route. So this is the only data we have. So obviously, it's got us here. So, cool. Any just advice to others, big breakthroughs you've had that you would love to tell someone that may have been in the situation you were in before you joined? And obviously it doesn't have to be just like hire Dan, but some real kind of practical Just advice.
It's really, I mean, I guess there's two. One is just persistence. It's just learning persistence, and like it's not just like, yeah, you persist through a hard time. It's no, you have to persist like when it's boring. You have to persist when it's like when it's good. You have to go through the good, bad, and the ugly, no matter what you do. And then this kind of goes with it. Do it with a mentor. Go persist with a mentor, because like it's going to move you faster, and the only way to see the actual growth is having somebody else there to like actually measure it with you. um, that's been like my biggest, like that's been my biggest takeaway from Dark Label, is being able to have you have the other guys in the group, and just have like a bunch of people who just like are there to kind of help you move forward through problems. And honestly, it saved my ass a few times, from saying the wrong thing or just freaking the hell out of like something that's not even that big of a deal. Um, but like I didn't know it was not a big deal. So I mean,
Yeah.
those are my biggest takeaways. Definitely, that's my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah. I kind of like to look at it as like a personal trainer, you know?
Yeah,
It's like, what makes logical sense if you want to lose weight? You doing it on your own, which is definitely a thing. And people lose weight on their own all the time, maybe a little slower. Maybe some people just naturally have that and naturally have the answers. Maybe they've done it in the past and they know exactly what to do. Or, does it make more logical sense to have a personal trainer that tells you exactly what to eat, that makes you do the 4 extra reps even when you don't want to, and just helps you rethink about, change how you think about things. That's like the easiest comparison, I'd say. And I think to most people that makes logical sense. But it's just a little bit of a scarier thing in business, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's
cool,
been
man. Appreciate you doing this, and I'll let you get back to work.
all right. Thanks, man.
Cool.